Lisa Bennett stood alone in the observation gallery, her hands trembling as she watched the vote unfold. 12 representatives of the most powerful species in the galaxy sat in a perfect circle below her. They were deciding Earth's fate. Those in favor of designating Sol 3 as a Class 3 protectorate, raise your appendages, said High Counselor Zarin. The slug-like alien's voice translator made his words sound flat and emotionless. Lisa held her breath. One by one, 7 appendages rose into the air. 7 out of 12. A majority. It was done. Lisa knew what Class 3 protectorate really meant. It wasn't protection. It was subjugation. Humans would become little more than servants to the Galactic Council. She backed away from the viewing glass. The aliens below couldn't see her, but she felt exposed anyway. Her heart pounded as she slipped down the curved hallway toward her small quarters on the station. She had to warn Earth. The Jupiter observation post was supposed to be a diplomatic mission, a chance for humanity to learn about the wider galaxy. For 2 years, Lisa had served as Earth's unofficial representative, learning the Council's ways. Now she understood their true intentions. Inside her room, Lisa locked the door and pulled out her emergency transmitter. The device was small, designed to be overlooked in standard security scans. She typed quickly. ALE Earth. Council vote complete. Earth designated Class 3. Peacekeeping fleet will deploy within 1 rotation. Prepare for arrival. Time is short. She encrypted the message using the special code only Admiral John Russo could understand. Her finger hovered over the send button. Once she sent this, there was no going back. The Council would know she had violated their communication protocols. Lisa pressed send. 3 minutes later, her door slid open. 2 reptilian guards entered. Communications Officer Bennett, your transmitter privileges have been suspended, one said. Please remain in your quarters until further notice. Lisa nodded, keeping her face blank. It didn't matter. Her message was already speeding toward Earth. Admiral John Russo was eating breakfast when his secure tablet beeped. He set down his coffee and read the message twice. His appetite vanished. Get me the president, he told his aide. Now. 2 hours later, Admiral Russo stood in the White House Situation Room. The president sat at the head of the table, face grim. Around them were the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Secretary of Defense, and the Director of National Intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, the president said, Admiral Russo has received intelligence that changes everything we know about our place in the galaxy. Russo stood up. At 600 hours this morning, Commander Lisa Bennett sent an emergency transmission from the Jupiter observation post. The Galactic Council has voted to designate Earth as a Class 3 protectorate. What does that mean exactly? Asked the Secretary of Defense. Based on what Commander Bennett has learned, it means they're coming to take over, Russo said. They'll establish bases on Earth, restrict our technological development, and essentially turn us into a client state. The room erupted with questions and protests. How much time do we have? The president asked, cutting through the noise. 1 rotation is about 30 standard Earth days, Russo said. Their fleet will arrive in 1 month. Can we fight them? Asked General Ellis. Russo shook his head. Not directly. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. So we surrender. Someone asked. No, said the president firmly. We adapt. We survive. We find a way to change the rules. A military aide entered the room and whispered in Russo's ear. Dr. Alan Wright has arrived, sir, the aide said. Russo nodded. Good. Bring him in. A thin man with wild gray hair entered carrying a tablet computer. His eyes were bright with excitement despite the dark circles beneath them. Dr. Wright, said Russo, please tell the president what you told me on the phone. Dr. Wright looked around the room. 3 days ago, my team achieved breakthrough in experimental propulsion systems. We've discovered principles that might allow us to match some of their technology. The president leaned forward. Can it help us defend Earth? Not directly, Wright said, but it could help us do something they won't expect. For the first time since receiving Lisa's message, Admiral Russo felt a spark of hope. The Council thought humans were predictable. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 3 months had passed since the Council's vote. The first alien ships entered the solar system, massive vessels that made Earth's largest spacecraft look like toys. They moved slowly, confidently, like predators who knew their prey couldn't escape. Admiral Russo watched the radar displays from the underground command center in Colorado. The president stood beside him, her face tense in the blue glow of the screens. "They're exactly where we expected," Russo said. 7 ships, approaching in standard formation. "Are our people in position?" the president asked. Russo nodded. "Operation Scattered Light is active. Instead of making a stand at Earth, our ships are hidden throughout the system." He pointed to a small blip near Saturn. The U.S. Defiant, under Captain Peter Martinez, is using the new stealth technology. They're hiding in Saturn's rings, completely invisible to Council sensors. The president nodded. "And our ground preparations? On schedule. The public thinks we're getting ready for diplomatic talks. Meanwhile, we've moved 20% of key industries to underground facilities or off-planet. It's not enough, but it's a start." An aide rushed into the room. "Admiral, the Council flagship is broadcasting. They want to address the United Nations." The president straightened her jacket. "Well, let's go meet our new protectors." 2 hours later, the United Nations General Assembly was packed. On the stage stood a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. Ambassador Zorthak of the Galactic Council spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, I bring greetings from the Council of 12. After careful consideration of your species' development, we have decided to extend our protection to your world." The alien smiled, showing too many teeth. "We will establish bases on your moon and Mars. We will share certain technologies. We will guide your development along approved paths. This is a great honor." In the back of the hall, Lieutenant Kate Summers listened carefully. She wore a simple blue uniform of the newly formed Human Liaison Office. Her real job wasn't diplomacy, it was espionage. Kate noticed how the alien's fingers twitched when he mentioned technology. He was lying about sharing it. She made mental notes of every detail as Zorthak continued his speech about the benefits of Council protection. Later that night, Kate met Dr. Mary Collins in a secure room 50 feet below New York City. Dr. Collins, a leading xenobiologist, had been studying the limited data on Council species. "What did you learn?" Dr. Collins asked. Kate handed over her notes. "They're establishing immediate control of all space travel. They're placing advisors in all major governments, and they seem nervous about something." "Nervous?" Dr. Collins raised an eyebrow. "That's interesting. From what I've studied of their biology, many Council species don't show human-like stress responses. This one did," Kate said, "especially when talking about our potential for advancement." Dr. Collins turned to her computer. "I've been analyzing samples from their environmental systems. Look at this." The screen showed a complex molecule. "Their neural biology is different from ours. They rely heavily on specific electromagnetic frequencies for proper brain function." "Is that useful?" Kate asked. "It could be," Dr. Collins said, "if we can disrupt those frequencies without harming humans." Kate's secure phone buzzed. She answered, listened, then hung up. "Captain Martinez just completed his first mission," she told Dr. Collins. "The Defiant intercepted a small Council transport near Titan. They've captured Council technology and are bringing it to the Mars base." Dr. Collins smiled. "Perfect. I need to see how their tech interfaces with their biology." Kate looked at the countdown clock on the wall. It had been set when the Council ships first entered the system. It now read 147 days until full occupation. "Will we be ready?" she asked. Dr. Collins looked down at her research. "We have to be. The Council thinks they're dealing with simple, obedient creatures. We need to show them humans don't surrender easily." On the screen behind them, Satellite imagery showed the first Council ships landing on the moon, their blue lights illuminating the gray surface. The game had begun. 6 months had passed since the Council ships first entered Earth's solar system. The moon now had 3 large alien bases with strange blue towers that reached toward the stars. Mars had become a major Council shipping hub, with dozens of ships coming and going each day. On Earth, Council advisors walked the halls of every major government building. They were always polite, always smiling, and always watching. Lieutenant Kate Summers sat in a small cafe across from the United Nations building. She sipped her coffee and pretended to read a magazine. In reality, she was watching a tall, thin alien with green skin who sat 2 tables away. The alien, Assistant Advisor Vreen, looked nervous. He kept checking the time on his translator device. Kate had spent weeks gaining his trust. Today would show if it was worth it. Vreen stood up, left some money on the table, and walked out. Kate waited 30 seconds, then followed. They had planned this carefully. In a quiet corner of Central Park, Vreen waited under a large oak tree. Kate approached him slowly. "You weren't followed?" Vreen asked, his large eyes scanning the area. "No," Kate said. "We have 10 minutes before my tracker shows I've taken an unusually long route back to the office." Vreen pulled out a small crystal data drive. "This contains Council security protocols for the Mars base. It also has," he hesitated, "my personal observations about the Council's fears regarding humans." Kate took the drive. "Fears? What do they fear about us?" "Your adaptability," Vreen said. "Most species take centuries to advance technologically. Humans do it in decades. The Council is terrified of what you might become if left unchecked." Kate put the drive in a hidden pocket. "Why are you helping us?" "Vreen." The alien looked sad. "Because my own world was once a protectorate. Now we are just servants. I don't want to see that happen to another species with such potential." Kate nodded. "Thank you. This will help us." Dr. Mary Collins worked late in her underground lab. Since the Council arrival, her laboratory had been moved 3 times, each location more secret than the last. Currently, she was 50 stories beneath what looked like an abandoned factory in Detroit. She examined the alien technology that Captain Martinez's team had captured. With each passing week, humans were learning more about Council science. Progress was slow but steady. A door opened, and Admiral Russo walked in. Despite the late hour, his uniform was perfect. "Doctor, I need good news," he said. Dr. Collins pointed to her screen. "We've reverse-engineered their communication systems, and with help from our new friend," she meant Vreen, though she didn't say his name, "we've made a breakthrough in understanding their neural frequencies." "Can we use it against them?" Russo asked. "Not yet for weapons, but yes for protection," Dr. Collins said. "I can create devices that shield humans from their scanning technology. They won't be able to track people wearing these." Russo smiled for the first time in months. "That's exactly what we need. Captain Martinez is planning more raids. This will help keep his people safe." Dr. Collins nodded toward another screen showing complex mathematical equations. "There's more. Dr. Wright's team is making progress on adapting their propulsion systems. We might be able to build our own ships with similar capabilities within a year." "We don't have a year," Russo said. "Council control tightens every day." "Then we need more help," Dr. Collins said. "More allies." Russo looked grim. "I've been making contacts. There are other species who hate the Council, who have been waiting for someone to stand up to them." A message alert sounded on Russo's secure tablet. He read it, and his eyes widened. "Captain Martinez just raided a Council research station near Europa. They found something unexpected." Russo showed her the screen. The station was studying ways to control human minds. Dr. Collins felt cold. "Then we're running out of time." "Yes," said Russo, "but so are they. The Council is realizing that we're not as easy to control as they thought. They expected submission. Instead, they're getting resistance. From a speaker in the ceiling, a voice announced, "Council patrol approaching Sector 5. Security Protocol Alpha in effect." The lights dimmed and emergency systems activated. "They're getting closer to finding our bases," Rousseau said. "We need to accelerate our plans." Dr. Collins looked at her work. "I'll need 2 more weeks." "You have 1," Rousseau said. "The game is changing. We need to change faster." 1 year had passed since the Council's vote to make Earth a protectorate. Deep in the asteroid belt, hidden among rocks and ice, humanity had built something impossible. Captain Peter Martinez floated in zero gravity, staring through a viewport at the vast shipyard. 10 sleek vessels hung in the darkness, their hulls gleaming with a strange blue-black metal. These ships had never been reported to the Council. They weren't supposed to exist. "Beautiful, aren't they?" Dr. Alan Wright floated up beside him. The physicist had aged a decade in the past year, his face lined with exhaustion, but his eyes sparkled with pride. "How many can fly now?" Martins asked. 6 are ready. The other 4 need 2 more weeks." Wright pointed to the largest ship. "That one's yours. We're calling it the Defiance." Martinez nodded. Earth's first real warship built with reverse-engineered alien technology. His old vessel, the Defiant, had been a modified Earth ship. This was something entirely new. "And the drive system?" Martins asked. Wright smiled. "It works. We've tested it twice. No more relying on the Council's hyperspace lanes. We can move without them detecting us." A message alert sounded. Admiral Rousseau's face appeared on a nearby screen. "Captain, we have a development. Commander Bennett has escaped Council headquarters. She's bringing critical information. Meet me at Base Artemis in 6 hours." Lisa Bennett looked thin and pale, but her eyes were clear and determined. She sat at a conference table in the secure facility hidden beneath the surface of Ceres, the largest asteroid in the belt. "The Council is planning a full military occupation," she said. "They're bringing in 30 more ships and plan to restrict all human movement off-planet." Admiral Rousseau frowned. "Timeline?" 2 months, Lisa said. "But that's not all. I found proof they've done this to 17 other species in the past 1,000 years. Many of them are now extinct or reduced to servant status." Dr. Collins, who had joined the meeting via secure link, leaned forward. "Did you learn anything about their defense systems?" Lisa nodded and slid a small data chip across the table. "Complete schematics of their flagship. Their shields have a weakness. They cycle every 3.7 seconds. For a fraction of a second, they're vulnerable." Martinez took the chip. "That's our window then." "There's more," Lisa said. "I made contact with another species while escaping. They call themselves the Solarians. They'd been hiding from the Council for centuries in the Oort cloud at the edge of our solar system." "Are they friendly?" Rousseau asked. "Yes," Lisa said. "And they have technology the Council has never seen. They've offered to help us." Rousseau stood up. "This changes everything. We're not alone anymore." He activated a holographic display showing the solar system. "It's time to implement the Artemis Protocol. Captain Martinez, you'll take command of our new fleet. Your first mission is to meet with the Solarians and coordinate our strategy." Martinez nodded. "And our other ships?" "We've hidden vessels throughout the system," Rousseau said. "Small crafts, shuttles, anything that can fly. Each one has been modified with Dr. Wright's technology. When the signal is given, they'll all activate at once." Dr. Collins spoke up from her screen. "The neural disruptors are ready too. They'll interfere with Council communication and coordination without harming humans." Rousseau looked at each of them. "This is the largest coordinated resistance any species has ever mounted against the Council. If we succeed, we don't just free Earth, we might free the galaxy." An alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed in the corridor. "What's happening?" Lisa asked. A security officer rushed in. "Council forces on Earth are experiencing system failures across all bases. Their ships are reporting navigation errors. Communication networks are down. Russo looked confused. We haven't given the signal yet. The officer handed him a tablet. This message just came in from all Council facilities on Earth. On the screen, simple text appeared. Game change. Haiti. Who sent this? Russo demanded. Unknown, sir, the officer said. But whatever they did, it's working. Council operations are in chaos. Martinez looked at Lisa, then at Russo. Someone else is playing the game. Russo's face hardened with determination. Then we move now. Captain, launch your fleet. The Artemis Protocol begins immediately. Outside the base, hidden among the asteroids, the 6 completed ships powered up their engines, preparing to change the rules of a game the Council thought they controlled. The Defiance moved silently through space, its new engines barely causing a ripple in the void. Captain Martinez stood on the bridge, watching as his crew worked with quiet efficiency. The ship was a marvel, combining human ingenuity with reverse-engineered alien technology. Captain, we're receiving a transmission, said his communications officer. It's on a frequency we've never seen before. Put it through, Martinez ordered. A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English with a musical quality. Human vessel, this is Ambassador Leah of the Terendi. We wish to speak with your leaders. Martinez exchanged glances with his second-in-command. The Terendi were one of the 12 species on the Galactic Council. Why would they be contacting a human ship directly? This could be a trap, his second-in-command whispered. Martinez considered this, or it could be an opportunity. Respond on the same frequency. Tell them we'll arrange a meeting. 3 days later, Lisa Bennett sat across from Ambassador Leah in a secure room on Syrah's base. The alien looked almost human, except for her silver skin and eyes with vertical pupils like a cat's. My species voted against Earth's subjugation, Leah said. We were outvoted. Now we wish to help you. Why? Lisa asked. You'd be breaking Council law. Leah's expression darkened. The Council has changed. The original purpose was to guide younger species, not enslave them. Some members have forgotten this. Admiral Russo, who sat beside Lisa, leaned forward. What exactly are you offering? Alliance, Leah said simply. The Terendi fleet will support your resistance. We are not the only ones. 3 other species who have been subjugated are also ready to join you. Lisa looked at Russo. This could change everything. But trust was hard to come by. We'll need proof of your intentions, Lisa said. Leah nodded. Of course, I've brought technical data on Council defense systems, and I can tell you where your people are being held prisoner. This got Russo's attention. What prisoners? The Council has taken 200 of your scientists to a processing station near Jupiter, Leah said. They're being reprogrammed. Russo's face hardened. Then that's our next target. Dr. Collins worked in her lab, examining data from the Solarians. Their biology was fascinating. They could naturally sense electromagnetic fields in ways humans needed machines to detect. A tall man entered the lab. Dr. Paul Warren was her assistant, brilliant but always quiet. Any progress with the countermeasures? He asked. Collins nodded excitedly. The Solarian data helped me create a biological shield. It will protect humans from Council mind control technology. She didn't notice how Warren's eyes narrowed, or how his hand moved to his pocket. That's impressive, he said. When will it be ready to deploy? 2 days, Collins said. I'm running final tests now. Warren nodded. I should report this to Admiral Russo. He left the lab and walked down a long corridor. Once alone, he pulled out a device that was definitely not human technology. He spoke softly in an alien language. Back in her lab, Collins frowned at her computer screen. Something strange was happening with her data. Files were being copied and transmitted. She typed rapidly, tracing the signal. Her blood ran cold. The transmission was going to a Council frequency, and it was coming from Dr. Warren's console. She hit the security alarm just as the door slid open again. Warren stood there, a strange weapon in his hand. "I'm sorry, Dr. Collins. You're too dangerous to the Council's plans." Collins dove behind her desk as the weapon fired. She reached for the emergency button under her desk. On the bridge of the Defiance, Martinez received an urgent message from Admiral Rousseau. "We have a traitor. Dr. Warren has been feeding information to the Council. Dr. Collins is in danger. And worse, the Council now knows about our alliance with the Terendi." Martinez turned to his crew. "Change of plans. We're launching the rescue mission now. The Jupiter station is our target." His tactical officer looked up from her console. "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy signature entering the solar system. It's the largest Council warship ever recorded." Martinez's jaw tightened. "It seems they're sending their best. Grand Marshal Ketsun has entered the game." The Defiance's engines glowed brighter as it accelerated toward Jupiter, racing against time. Grand Marshal Ketsun stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Inevitable. He was tall, even for his species, with gray skin and 4 arms. Each arm ended in a hand with 7 fingers. His yellow eyes narrowed as he studied the display showing Earth. "Such a small planet to cause so much trouble," he said. His voice was deep and rough. His second-in-command bowed slightly. "The humans have proved more resilient than expected, Grand Marshal." Ketsun snorted. "Resilient? They are vermin who refuse to accept their place. But that ends today." The display zoomed out to show his fleet. 20 massive warships surrounding Earth. Council forces had already disabled Earth's orbital defenses. Nothing stood between his ships and the planet below. "Send the message," Ketsun ordered. In the underground command center, Admiral Rousseau listened as Ketsun's message played on every communication channel on Earth. "People of Earth, your resistance has been noted. It is futile. You have 1 Earth day to surrender completely. After that, we will begin orbital bombardment of major cities. This is your only warning." The President of the United States, who had joined Rousseau in the command center, looked grim. "Can they really do that? Destroy our cities from orbit?" "Yes," Rousseau said, "and they will." He checked the time. "But they've made a critical error. They think we're defenseless." Rousseau pressed a button on his console. "All units, this is Admiral Rousseau. Execute the Artemis Protocol. I repeat, execute the Artemis Protocol." Captain Martinez watched as his small fleet of 6 ships approached Jupiter. They were still using stealth technology, invisible to Council sensors. His target was the large Council station orbiting the gas giant, where 200 human scientists were being held. As they neared the station, his communications officer turned to him. "Captain, we're receiving Admiral Rousseau's signal. The Artemis Protocol has been activated." Martinez nodded. "Perfect timing. Begin Phase 1 of the rescue operation." Outside the ship, small pods detached from the Defiance and the other vessels. Each pod contained a team of Special Forces soldiers. They moved silently toward the station. At the same moment, Dr. Wright activated a device on the bridge. "Lighthouse array is online, Captain." The device pulsed, sending invisible waves of energy outward. On the Council station, alarms began to blare as their navigation and communication systems suddenly failed. "Phase 2, Martinez ordered. "Move in." On Earth, thousands of hidden human ships suddenly activated. They rose from oceans, emerged from caves, and lifted off from hidden bases. Each one was small, not much bigger than a fighter jet, but together they formed a massive swarm. At the same time, Dr. Collins' neural disruptors activated worldwide. Council forces on Earth suddenly found their communication devices useless. Many fell to their knees, clutching their heads as the carefully tuned frequencies disrupted their thought patterns. In orbit, Ketsun's fleet detected the approaching swarm too late. Their sensors, calibrated to look for large vessels, had missed the small craft until they were nearly upon them. "What is this?" Ketsun demanded as the display showed thousands of small ships surrounding his fleet. The human vessels weren't attacking. They were positioning themselves in a specific pattern, creating a three-dimensional grid around the council ships. Some kind of primitive attack formation, his second-in-command said dismissively. They cannot harm our shields. Ketsun wasn't so sure. Target them and... Before he could finish, every human ship activated a device similar to Dr. Wright's lighthouse array. Together, they created a massive energy field that completely surrounded the Council fleet. On the inevitable, systems began shutting down. Shields flickered and died. Weapons went offline. What is happening? Ketsun roared. Then a new voice came over their communication system. Grand Marshal Ketsun, this is Admiral John Rousseau of Earth. Your ships are now powerless. Your ground forces are incapacitated. You spoke of surrender. Now it is your turn. Ketsun slammed his fist against the console. This is impossible. No Protectorate species has ever defeated a Council fleet. Another voice joined the channel. That's because no one ever changed the rules of the game before. The main view screen activated, showing Captain Martinez on the bridge of the Defiance. Your station near Jupiter is under our control, Martinez said calmly. Your prisoners are free. And you should know that the Terendi fleet has just entered Earth orbit. You are surrounded, outnumbered, and outmaneuvered. Ketsun stared in disbelief as the display confirmed Terendi warships appearing behind his fleet. The game had indeed changed, and for the first time in his long career, Grand Marshal Ketsun had lost. 3 weeks after the battle, Lisa Bennett stood before the full Galactic Council. All 12 representatives sat in their grand chamber, watching her with various expressions. Some showed respect, others anger, and a few seemed afraid. Grand Marshal Ketsun stood to the side, under guard. His capture had been Captain Martinez's personal mission. Instead of killing him, Martinez had brought him alive to face justice. Members of the Council, Lisa began, her voice strong and clear. 1 year ago, you voted to make Earth a Class 3 protectorate. You planned to subjugate my species, to limit our growth, to use us as you have used others. She tapped a control, and images appeared in the air around her. They showed Council forces mistreating other species, secret documents, and records of planets stripped of resources. These records, provided by the Terendi and recovered from Ketsun's ship, prove that certain Council members have violated your own founding principles. You were meant to guide, not enslave. The chamber erupted in angry shouts and denials. The Council leader, a wise old being named Trell, raised his hand for silence. What do humans want, Commander Bennett? Trell asked. Revenge. To destroy the Council. Lisa shook her head. No. If we wanted revenge, we could have destroyed Ketsun's fleet. Instead, we disable it. If we wanted to end the Council, we would not be here speaking with you. She stepped forward. Humans want a new beginning. A new galactic charter based on self-determination and mutual respect. We have drafted such a charter, with help from the Terendi and other species. Lisa handed Trell a small crystal containing the document. We invite all species to join as equals. The age of protectorates and subjugation must end. Trell studied the crystal thoughtfully. And if we refuse, then Earth and our allies will form our own alliance, Lisa said simply. The choice is yours. Back on Earth, Dr. Collins watched the Council meeting via transmission. Beside her stood Admiral Rousseau and Dr. Wright. The lab around them was filled with new technology combining human innovation with alien science. Do you think they'll agree? Dr. Wright asked. Some will, some won't, Rousseau said. But it doesn't matter. The balance of power has shifted. Dr. Collins pointed to her screen, where data showed the results of her latest work. And this will shift it further. My team has adapted the medical knowledge we gained to help all species. These treatments could save millions of lives across the galaxy. Rousseau nodded. Not weapons, but healing. That's the right approach. The door opened, and Captain Martinez walked in. His uniform was new, bearing the insignia of the recently formed Earth Space Force. "The first Solarian ships have arrived," he reported. "They're ready to meet with our scientists." Russo checked the time. "Then we should go. The president is waiting." 6 months later, Lisa Bennett stood on a new space station orbiting Earth. Through the large windows, she could see ships from a dozen different species coming and going freely. The door opened, and Trell entered. As the leader of the Reformed Council, he had come to finalize the new charter. "It is done," he said. 8 species have signed the new Galactic Charter. 4 have chosen to leave the Council, but they have agreed to peaceful relations. "And Earth?" Lisa asked. "Earth has been granted a full seat on the Council," Trell said. "You will represent your species, if you accept." Lisa looked out at the stars. "I accept." Trell's expression became curious. "There is something I must ask. How did humans do it? How did a species with so little advanced technology manage to defeat the greatest fleet in the galaxy?" Lisa smiled. "We changed the game. When you tried to conquer us, you expected us to fight directly, ship against ship, a battle we couldn't win. Instead, we found a different way. By making allies," Trell observed. "Yes," Lisa agreed, "but also by understanding that true strength isn't in destroying your enemies, but in offering them a better path." Later that day, in a formal ceremony broadcast across Earth and to many worlds beyond, Lisa Bennett was sworn in as the first human High Counselor. Standing beside her were representatives of formerly subjugated species. Where once the Council had voted for subjugation, now they voted for partnership. The game had indeed changed, and the galaxy would never be the same again.